What's good, Grizzlies Nation? It's your boy, Parish Sharkey. Back here again. Of course, y'all know me as the beat reporter for the Memphis Grizzlies for Bluff City Media. So back here again with another post-game bounce after a 2-2 week. I kind of waited a little longer. Of course, my last one was before the All-Star break, and I want to say I did it before the Phoenix Suns and the LA Clippers games, before the last two games for the All-Star break. Decided to wait a little bit to do the next one to after they played the Phoenix Suns, so I can get you some footage, right? So I can get you some locker room footage as they had a road trip, a 5-game road trip, the 2 games before the All-Star break and their first 3 after the All-Star break. So I'm really only going to focus on the last couple games since the All-Star break, and I focus on, of course, they beat the Suns in Phoenix before the All-Star break and then lost at the Clippers without Ja Morant and Vince Williams Jr. playing in that game as well. So I'm going to lock in and focus on the last 4 games, the game at the Pacers, which they lost coming out of the All-Star break, at the Magic, at the Cavs, and then, of course, the thrilling game that I was glad to be at against the Phoenix Suns. Just got to the age now, man. I prefer the close games. Those have been the more fun games. The Phoenix Suns game, the Minnesota Timberwolves game was super fun. The Houston Rockets game was super fun. The blowouts are fun too. The Toronto Raptors game was cool when they scored the franchise record 155. Beating Golden State by 50 was fun too. But I enjoyed those close games because that's what the playoffs are about. So yeah, I'm all about those and pulling those out. It's another feeling with them. So yeah, fresh off a great win against the Phoenix Suns. So I'm gonna go ahead and begin with highlights over the last since they returned for All-Star break. So they are 2-2. They did go 2-2 over this week. If you even go back further, they're 3-3. So they're 500 since the last time I recorded. Whether it's before the All-Star break, they're 3-3. After All-Star break, they're 2-2. They won 2-3 on the road trip. Nothing to feel too bad about. It's still a road trip. They play some tough teams, and I think that's the thing. They losing to some of the good teams, yada yada. But it's it's on the road is tough. And shout out to Sang who pulled that stat up, or someone who I think it was him. And I know we talked about it in the show yesterday. I don't know if it was him who pulled the stat up, or the Grizzlies record versus above 500 teams versus other teams in the Western Conference in their same position. Pretty much everybody in the NBA in the same position except the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are the 2 best teams. They're both 46-11 for the Thunder, and the Cavs are 48-10. So everybody else probably around the same boat, right? So we'll see how it goes. But starting with the Pacers, they did lose their game in blowout fashion after they were blowing the Pacers out at first. They were leading by double digits in the first half. The game flipped on a dime. I just know I turned my head for 5 minutes, and the Grizzlies went from being up 5 to down 19. And they can never recover. Then they got back within 12 or something. And it's just one of the games, man. A team just got the best of you. The Pacers play a similar, not the same style as the Grizzlies, the same run and gun pace, and they just got the best of them that night. Nothing to feel bad about the Pacers. There was a road game against a top 4. I think the Pacers are 4th in the Eastern Conference right now. So the biggest thing was rebounding from that game. And then they played the Magic I want to say it was a back-to-back. Yep, it was a back-to-back the next night on Friday night. Really that game, the resiliency that they show, and that goes to my highlights of this last week. Resiliency was big in their last 3 games. The Magic, it was close. They were kind of going nip and tuck. Very ugly game. Then they fell behind by 19 somewhere in the early third quarter after it was tied at halftime. But then they made a run and actually took the lead. They made a crazy run in like 5 minutes, really 4 minutes. They went from down 19 to up 2 in like 4 minutes, right before the third quarter ended. So they were down by 19 like 5 minutes ago. Next thing you know, with a minute remaining, they're up by 2. I think it was 80-78 before the Magic scored the last 5 points to lead by 3 going to the fourth quarter. So, and they did the same thing against the Suns last night. Actually, they made a crazy run. They were down by 10 and won a 13-1 run in like 2 minutes and took the lead 99-97. So that's the benefits of this high-paced offense that they're playing. That's why I do like the system, contrary to some, because I mean it's working wonders. Like even the Cavs game, they lost, but they scored 122 points. I'm not I'm not getting mad at your offense for scoring 123 points. Sound like they need to get a little bit on the other end of the court, which they were known to be good at. But before I get there, let's just go ahead and get back to the Orlando game. Of course, they made that comeback right there, but then they were also down and they lock in on defense when they need to the most, right? They were down by 19, not 19, they were down by 103-94 with like 5 minutes remaining in the game. And from that point forward, they outscored the Magic, held them to 1 point the rest of the game, outscored them to 11-1, and including the final stop on defense, Brandon Clark played excellent defense on Paolo, then set up for Jaren to get the game winning block to win the game. So they ended up winning 105-104 against Orlando, showed great resiliency. Although Ja Morant struggled in these games, that game starting, and of course, the Suns game, which I get to in a second, he struggled in that game. But I think he attempted 24 shots. He shot 10 for 24. We just want to see aggressive Ja, right? And that's been my thing. I'm like, I don't know. I've been, having this joke behind the scenes about just like he can't shoot. And I've said it on air, like he's either just not confident enough to shoot, or he just hadn't worked on his shot as much as we think he has, which I guess goes hand in hand with the confidence. And I'm thinking more in the mid range spectrum because 3 point wise, it's cool. And he's getting his attempts up from three, but I care about the mid range more because of his style. When he gets kind of like, I'm thinking the player, he's more of the Russell Westbrook, Derrick Rose, John Wall mode. And all three of those players, same thing, get to the rim at will, get fouls, half line dunks. But all three of them developed a mid range jumper at some point, and that's what separated them, right? And but Derrick Rose, of course, had the injuries, and he had no choice after the injuries. And that's another thing. Josh had plenty of injuries. You're going to have to get that part, at least that mid range. And he's starting to shoot it a little more. That's the point. Like you got to get the field goal attempts up. You got to, in order for you to build confidence, you got to take them. I'm not saying he hasn't practiced on it, but you have to start taking them in the game. And you're not getting the foul calls until the Suns game. About time. But also still be aggressive. Sometimes he just, throw his hands up like, dang. Then he just feel like he just kind of just, and I ain't gonna say fully check out, but check out like for a certain extent. In his last couple games, it felt like he's been like, if I'm finna keep going, I'm taking some of those jumpers. I'm gonna keep going to the rim. Y'all going, I'm gonna make y'all call the foul. And that's the job we need. And that's what he did in the Orlando game. He also did it into really begin that Cleveland game. He started out shooting well in that game. So I go ahead and get to the Cleveland game next. Resiliency show. We lost, I think I forgot to find the score, but I know we scored 123. Lost by 6, I believe. Um, can't be too mad to loss. It's a couple. I think it's just the small things. You think about Taylor Jenkins, and some just something. And I would say this: I commend him for cutting his rotation down to really 9. He's cut his rotation down to about 9 players since the All Star break. He's been playing 10. He played 11 in the Cleveland game, but Scotty and Gigi only played like 5 minutes apiece. So he's really playing a 9-man rotation. He has cut the rotation short. So shout out to him for that. Now he set Ja a little too long in that first and second quarter, like range. And Ja started off hot and kind of feel like it took away momentum from him a little bit, like in the sense of he started off shooting like 3 for 4, and then he set for like 10 minutes and 10 game time minutes, real minutes, and he set for about 20, right? And that first half went pretty quick, so it went like a slow death. Second half went a whole different way. They called all the fouls in the second half after not calling none in the first half. But yeah, he sat down for a long time in this stretch. And also the end of the game situations. I think I don't know. I don't think they lost the game because of this. But I would say like some offensive defensive substitutions. Luke and Santi were the best two. And I do like he's doing the game by game. So he has the victory out there. And then whoever else plug and play by who matches better against their opponents. So against Orlando, it was Brandon Clark and Santi. Against Cleveland, it was Luke and Santi. Against Orlando, which I get to in a second, Jaren fouled out, ended up being Santi and Jalen and BC. It ended up being all three of them. But if Jaren didn't get fouled, if Jaren had fouled out, I believe it would have been Santi and Jalen in that Pacific matchup. But Brandon Clark came up big as well. But going back to the Cleveland game, no slouch. Cleveland is one of the better teams in the league. Yeah, they were missing Darius Gardner, but the Grizzlies still trying to figure out how to play together with the fully healthy roster. And at the end of the day, you lost to a formidable opponent, and they showed you the level you need to get up to. And the Grizzlies pretty much stood on it, right? So really not too much I'm gonna get with them on that. They played, and that was a hard fought game. And they gonna see Cleveland again in a couple weeks. So pretty good game. Can't get on about the rebounding, what, but I am on highlights right now, so I will get to that in the low lights in a second. So after this, of course, man, I get to y'all some footage from the locker room. But before I get to that, of course, Phoenix, John Morant, him starting off shooting over 8, him getting the high flying dunk. That was crazy. His quote was crazy too about losing the Wi-Fi and talking about, yeah, nosebleed. That was pretty hilarious being there in that moment as well. But yeah, he his first 2 shots he made were dunks outside of free throws. I would commend him for that. He got to the free throw line, but now indeed get to the free throw line, he hit all 14 free throws. One thing I have always said is he does complain a lot about fouls, but he's like a 70% free throw shooter. Um, my whole thing was, if you're gonna complain about fouls, make your free throws at a better clip than, I ain't gonna say he's at 70. I know he's in the 70s. I don't know where he's at. I don't have it right in front of me, but or was in the 70s. He might be ahead in the 80s now after a 14-14 shooting performance against the Suns. But yeah, shout out to him. Stayed with it. Resilient. Like I said, resiliency is the biggest thing for their last 3 games. Like, they was very resilient in all 3 games. And erased 2 4-point leads, and 4-point lead, and not 4-point lead, 4-point deficit with 16 seconds to go, and another 4-point deficit with like a minute to go in overtime. So, and John Moran finally hit the 3, went 1 for 12. You go 1 for 12, though. If the one you hit is the one he hit when it counts the most, it's all good in my book. So we'll take it, right? And then hit the game time shot, got back to his call 12 moment. Like, it reminded me a lot of that both Minnesota games. He struggled that first game at Minnesota, and then he hit the shots in the end, the game winning shot, the game time and game winning shot. And then also the Minnesota game on MLK Day, which very similar to the Suns game. They were trailing really the majority of the game. They fell behind by double digits, like the Suns game. They fell behind by 10, and they really was this one was less ugly. Offensively, they scored 151 points, but in the sense, it was like they just kept clawing back. I guess it was ugly in the sense that defensively, they want their best against the Suns, but at the end, they made the plays at the end of the game when they were pretty much trailing, and then made it and took the lead at the end and won. So it reminded me a lot of that game. But without further ado, like I was saying with the footage, man, Ja Morant had, really an excellent finish to the game, showed great resiliency. And here's the clips from some of the players, including himself, talking about his resiliency.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. You know, he's too good of a player. To struggle for the whole game. He stayed with it, and nobody else I'd rather have trying to make plays down the stretch.
It was just fun to be out there and witness what he can do. So, like you said, he struggled. He hit big shots when he needed them. He kept shooting. He didn't lose any type of confidence. He just did what he did and what we needed him to do.
That's what stars do. That's what he does. And maybe it didn't go all his way throughout the game, but like when we needed the win and we needed him to like go crazy, that's what he did. So, like I said, that's no surprise. That's what he's been doing year after year. So glad to see it back.
It's very familiar. Something I've seen for a long time. I'm glad we got the proper spacing around him at the end. Kind of help him so he's not just running into traffic. But it's hard to stop him in those situations. He did exactly what he does.
Just staying locked. I mean, I know every shot I take won't go in, but that don't mean, once you miss one, just stop taking it. So, just continue to just shoot the ball. Shot it with confidence. Santi was looking for me, early on, and once I came across, we did the old pitch behind play. It wasn't even talked about. That was crazy. That's just, the connection, we have out there. I was able to deliver that shot.
Yep. So there you go. There's footage from where Santi, Luke, Dez, Jaren, and Ja Morant about his just resiliency of struggling shooting, but still hacking away at it. He ended up shooting 7 for 25 for the game, but he ended the game shooting after he started 2 for 14. He shot 5 of his last 11. Including those 2 clutch baskets, including the mid-range jumper, which I was talking about, where it was a floater, but still mid-range level was what I'm talking about. So getting the field goal attempts up, that's what we was missing. Aggressive job. Also playing more minutes. I got about to say I don't have it in front of me. I do have it in front of me. He had played 37 minutes, so they don't have overtime. He played 32 minutes. Even that Cleveland game, when we saying he sat for a while, he still played 34 minutes. So that's the point. They are getting him minutes up. So Taylor Jenkins, I guess he did have a plan of first half, just get to All-Star break. And after All-Star break, then we're gonna attack it and really get ramped up. So shout out to that. Dez played 42 minutes. Jaren got in foul trouble. I'm gonna get to that in the low lights. But Ja had 29, Dez had 25, and Jaren had 28. And the big three showing up in big clutch situations is another one of my highlights. They are 8-2 in their last 10 games in clutch situations, which are games that are within 5 points with 5 minutes and less remaining in the game. So that was another clutch win against Phoenix. Orlando was a clutch win. Cleveland was a clutch loss. So they've had their last 3 games were clutch situations. So shout out to the Grizzlies for getting better in the clutch time moments, and that does help, like thinking about playoff moments and things they can do. I've seen them do a lot more, getting Jaren the ball at the top. The Cleveland game, when he came back in, he got to the rim and did a couple of things. Ja Morant being himself, Dez hitting some clutch shots. They're doing really good in clutch situations. But another player I want to give a shout out to in the clutch moments, Santi Aldama is one. I can't forget, like I said, him and Brandon Clark been in clutch moments lately, and they've finished out the Orlando game, finished up their win. Luke played in the clutch situation against Cleveland, and he had a clutch 3 down the stretch against Phoenix. Or Cleveland. In one of the games, he hit like a 3, like in a moment that they really needed one to really try and like keep pace to make the comeback. I can't remember which one, but yeah, he's hit some threes where he normally, like in clutch situations, him and Santi would miss those. That's what it is. Luke hit one against Cleveland. Santi hit one against Phoenix. So that's what it was. So yeah, both of them had started to do it. But another player I want to get to, and Brandon Clark, of course, defensively. He had missed the floater in the fourth quarter, but made it in the overtime against Phoenix. But Jalen Wells finished the game against the Phoenix Suns, and he finished in playing 39 minutes in that game, and 19 points on 5 of 7 shooting from 3. And also had drew the offensive foul, Grayson Allen, that essentially sealed the game, sealed the deal in overtime, and also had to dunk. So you had the 2 back-to-back plays that kind of sealed the deal against the Suns. So yeah, man, shout out to Jalen. He's poised. We know he's poised. He showed it all season, but he just continues to show it. And now, like, you see a player who, at least for this season, he has taken the lead in the pecking order of the small forwards between him, Vince, and Gigi. Vince and Gigi missed most of the season. So the reality of it is, it was always going to be a climb back for them this season. But it's going to be a good competition going forward in the future between those 3 for the start. Who's going to be the truly starting small forward going forward? But having all 3 of them on the contract for the next couple of years, the Grizzlies are in good hands, and all 3 of them are about to get that playoff experience this year. So we all should be very excited about just seeing that and knowing, like, man, we are set up. But to speak more on Jalen, I got a couple of clips from the players talking about his performance and how poised he was at the end of the game as well.
Normally, in those situations, obviously, late fourth quarter, it was pretty much, me taking shots, Dez, taking shots. That, in overtime, I kind of felt like, those guys be, just as important as, the other guys. So we ran, a little out action. It was really supposed to be a slip for Santi or a backside pass to Dez. This man helped, but I seen when Jalen was running through, Bo was kind of just trotting behind him, and I knew he had a shot on that play, and then you go back to it, he's gonna try to take that away, so then you just curl it and get downhill. He made some big time plays. The last play, Bill Gamble fell, Royce came up. Once I blew by him, I knew it was 2 defenders in the backcourt, so I knew we had numbers. So it was just finding the right pass before they fouled, but we had one at the rim.
Yeah, I know. Dunk for the win. Defense crazy. Got the push off at the end. I don't even know if you can count that as achieving something because he pushed him. But I mean, he's just been doing it all year. That was great.
Shout out to Ja. You was feeding me. I just took a couple shots. Like, I know the opportunities I had. I knew I was going to have to get Bobo once this game. So glad it came up.
Yep, man. Shout out to the Rook. He also moved up to second in the latest Kia rookie ladder. So he's still, of course, behind what's the man, Stephon Castle from the Spurs. But him and Zach Edey have swapped the last 3 weeks. I think he was 2-3 2 weeks ago. Then they swapped. Zach Edey was 2, and then he was 3 last rankings 2 weeks ago. So 3 weeks prior, then 2 weeks was the last ladder, and now the new one. He over to Zach Edey, and Zach Edey is third. So they keep swapping back and forth, but Jalen Wells, rookie of the year. I mean, it's yeah. he I didn't say he shouldn't win it, but yeah, he should. Stephon Castle is having a solid season. I understand, but and I understand rookie of the year don't necessarily go to the player on the best team or who impacts winning the most. So um if he continue playing at the level he played at in this Suns game, he has a chance. But unfortunately, the opportunities might not be there for him. Stephon Castle will have him, especially with Wemby out. He's probably going to get his field goal attempts and everything up, so we know how it's going to go. But going forward, to move forward and get ready to end the show, low lights. Of course, I had to get some low lights. They did go 2-2 last week, so here are the some low lights for the team. Rebounding against physical teams. I said I was going to mention, I was talking about the Cleveland game. They got out rebounded 57-37. And on the offensive rebounding, I think it was 22-12, I believe. I know it was 10. They gave up 10 offensive rebounds in the first quarter alone. They essentially lost their game because of rebound. So they got cleaned up and against those physical teams specifically. They did get out rebounded by Phoenix last night too, but it was, I got it in front of me, this one, 46-38. But offensively it was 8-7. And both teams made a lot of shots. So I mean it wasn't as prevalent in that game. But the Cleveland game, and you think about the Houston game when they lost at Houston, and the first time Houston beat Memphis, beat us here in Memphis. Those games got punished on the boards as well. I want to say it was another game. It wasn't the Knicks because that was just the turnovers. So it may have been the Thunder. Yeah, it was the Thunder game when Hartenstein kept getting all those rebounds. Yeah, it was that one. Yeah, they got to rebound better against the physical teams. That may be Marvin Bagley may plug in it at some point. Terry Jenkins has cut the rotation down, so I understand that. But maybe against those physical teams, maybe Marvin Bagley should get some more minutes over. Say he has played GG less, so maybe don't come at me. Maybe over GG because I know he's gonna play Santi and Brandon Clark are entrenched in the lineup. Santi could slide over to the 3 since he seems like GG is for whatever reason, not trusting him in moments or wherever GG is playing less. Maybe Marvin Bagley could be the 10th man in these physical matchups, right? And some of the other matchups, kind of him and GG kind of swap back and forth. That's what it feels like could be the play here. But we'll see how I do going forward. On the record against the teams, the top teams. So I would say the top 5 teams in the West, which include themselves, and the top 3 teams in the East. All these teams, to me, seem to separate themselves from the pack. Because Knicks are the 3rd seed, and they're like 4.5 games up from the 4th seed, the Pacers. And then the West, everybody is 5. I think the Lakers and Rockets are 4.5 ahead of the Clippers for 4 and 5, and they're tied. So the Grizzlies are 4-10 against all those teams, including 3-8 against the West teams. Of course, injuries and like a lot of nuances to this, right? First time to play the Thunder, we missing like 9 players. So you take stuff with a grain of salt. 0-2 against the Thunder. The Nuggets 1-1. Jokic didn't play. I believe Ja didn't play. I got to double check. I believe Ja didn't play either. So no, there's nuances to this. The Lakers and Dez might not. I didn't look. Dez might not have played one of them games, right? The Lakers 1-2 can't win in LA, but that's all, and that's a whole different team. And they do look better. So we'll and it's just kind of hard to tell. The Rockets seem like the more one that you can actually talk about. 1-3 against them. Take away the first matchup without Jaren, second game of the season, 1-2. And all 3 of those games came down to the wire in clutch situations. And before the Grizzlies won an 8-2 run, they were losing clutch situations back-to-back against the Rockets. Yeah. So, and I believe one of those losses in their last 10 games are against the Rockets. The last time they lost at Houston before they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers was their second one. So, yeah. So they got more opportunities. They got the Cavs again. They did beat the Celtics. They got them again. They got the Knicks coming up this Friday. So they got opportunities to kind of reverse their record and get back on a good track against these teams. Got the Thunder 2 more times, including the game next week in Memphis. This is part of their 5-game homestand. They just got flexed to ESPN now and changed the game time. They got the Nuggets one more time in Denver, which they never seem to win in Denver. So I don't know how to. Oh yeah, I don't think I expect to win in that one. They do see the new look Lakers here, actually on my birthday on March the 29th on a Saturday night. So interesting game in that one. So I got a chance to kind of flip it around, and I did want to go back to he's gonna keep pushing forward to Jaren's foul trouble in the low light. So this will be my last low light. He fouled out against the Suns. Couldn't blame Taylor Jenkins on that one. He put him back in 4 minutes. He fouled out a minute later. So essentially I said Taylor Jenkins fouled him out Sunday against the Cavs when he took him out when he got his fourth foul in the third quarter. He just took him out. And then he got his fifth foul like early in the fourth quarter, took him out, and then put him back in to like 3 minutes to go. He put him back in 4 minutes. He got his fifth foul probably in the 6-minute mark. He took him out for 2 minutes, got back in, fouled out. So Jaren, also, and just go along with his fouls, I think he's had at least 5 fouls. He's had at least 5 fouls in 4 of the last 5 games. And in the game, he didn't get 5 fouls. He had 4 fouls in that one. And of course, he fouled that last night with 6. So he got it. The foul trouble is returning. It has returned. I will say this about Jaren. He has done better in the sense of in the past when he was in foul trouble, he was struggling. And most time when players are in foul trouble, they're struggling. He got in foul trouble against the Cavs and he still finished with 23 points. He got in foul trouble and fouled out against Phoenix and still finished with 28 points. Stay out the fouls, and at the very least, when he was getting foul trouble in the Minnesota series, he didn't have those numbers. He wasn't scoring. He wasn't having 28 and 5 and 23 and 6. He was scoring like 11 or 8 or whatever. And then I'm thinking about just that Minnesota series when I just knew he got foul trouble every single game, and Brandon Clark came in and essentially saved the day as the big man in that series. So Jaren going to figure out play without fouling. If he wanted to win Defensive Player of the Year, he gonna have to figure it out as well. So, but at least he is still producing through his foul trouble. So now we just need him to stay out of foul trouble. And get back to where he was the first half-ish of the season. I think this is still his lowest ranked average of fouls per game in the season and throughout his career. So hopefully he can get back and just find ways to stay out of foul trouble, man. Got to figure out that's his next evolution essentially. But no disrespect to Jaren at all about his game. He's definitely still producing at a big 3 type of level, 1A, 1B to Ja Morant type of level. But just gotta figure out to stay on the court more often and being out of foul trouble. But that's it for highlights, lowlights. Of course, I've ended off with doing predictions. The Grizzlies have 2 before my next video. I'm gonna do it after the next 2 games. So they have the Knicks and the Spurs. The Spurs. Yep, Knicks and Spurs back to back Friday and Saturday night. I will be in attendance for those games as well to get you some more footage to talk through. But I'm predicting 2-0. Man, in fact, I'm predicting the undefeated homestand. But now I'll get back to that when we get after these next 2 games. But 2-0, I think they get their revenge. Lost by 40 against the Knicks. Cat is out tonight during that game against the 76ers. Not sure if he'll be back in time for that game, but should be a win. I don't think we have any injuries. Ja Morant did tweak something, ankle or something. Hopefully, knock on wood. Let's hope he play more than 5 games this week. 5 games in a row. He has to play those 2 games to get to that. Played 6 games in a row. So hopefully got 2 days of rest. Hopefully he should be good. Defeat the Knicks and Spurs. Take care of business against, and the Grizzlies have done that. They're like 27-3 against teams under 500. Taking care of lesser opponents. Wemby is out. Don't take them lightly. They still got De'Aaron Fox, CP3, Stephon Castle. That'll be a game for Jalen Wells to take the lead in the Rookie of the Year race, or like really close the gap. If there is a not significant gap, but a little decent size gap, that'll be his chance to kind of show up. Also, Zach Heat is still out the race. That'd be his chance as well. He hasn't scored double digits since the Toronto game before the trade deadline. So, yeah, there'll probably be the games where in no Wemby either. Those are the games for the rookies to kind of step in. So, that's all I have. Post game bounce plus with your boy Parish Sharkey again, beat reporter for the Memphis for Bluff City Media for the Memphis Grizzlies. Till next time, y'all. Like I said, I'll see y'all early next week. But till then, you can catch me on the Daily Grind and on the Anthony Sane Show. Peace.